Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name's Joe and today I'm going to reveal my Game Week 9 team. I'll also quickly look back on a disastrous Game Week 8 for many and myself included. I'll also look ahead to the fixtures to come beyond Game Week 9. In addition, I've been looking at the player comparison tool at Fantasy Football Scout to decide on a couple of 50-50 calls, one of which is enormously important to my team structure and future captaincies, but more of that a bit later. Before I do that, I just wanted to plug the Goals Imminent podcast. That's on Fantasy Football Scouts, wherever you receive your podcasts. We do that every Thursday, maybe Friday this week, but I think we're certainly recording it on Thursday and do that with Mark Jobling, who works at Fantasy Football Scout. And we look at underperforming low-owned players for managers to consider to shake up the template. Another week of successes, but more of that when you listen to the podcast. We'll find out who's due a goal in Game Week 9. Also, just wanted to say, do press that like button, really helps us out. And also do remember to subscribe, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this as a podcast version as well. Okay, let's have a look at Game Week 8. I won't spend too long on this. It wasn't very good, but I was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I was 1 million in the rankings. I'm now 1.2 million. So a bit of a dip there. I got 34 points, but the average was 36. So I can count myself quite lucky. A good week to have a bad game week, as the saying goes. I had Flecken in goal, 4 points, which is quite good. But I had Verbruggen. So my IKEA matchup of Verbruggen or Fleckuggen, however you want to say it. So I got that bit wrong, but I would never have played Verbruggen against Newcastle. So 10 points, that shows how good he was, and it proves that he's a player I can rely on from Game Week 12, which is when I want to start playing him. Flecken got me 4 points, not bad. Alexander-Arnold blank. Lewis blank, Gabriel blank. Rogers got me a goal, which is great. Did play him this week. Johnson blank, but not for want of trying. Very happy with him though. Semenyo came in for 2 points because Saka, who I had kept, because I never believe anything Arteta says about Saka being injured, and so I was full of hope that he'd play. Brian Mbomo blanked. That's a rare blank for him. Havertz blanked. Haaland blanked. He was my captain. But Chris Wood came in with 7 points. On my bench, in addition to Verbruggen, I had Mikalenko's 7 points as well. So potentially it could have been an absolutely fantastic game week, but I don't think I would have played Mikalenko above any of those defenders. And I certainly wouldn't have played Verbruggen over Flecken against Newcastle. But so actually, weirdly, I've come out of this okay. Greaves is a red flag. He's due back in late November, but he's 4.0 defender. Happy to keep him on the bench anyway, so that's not a worry. Lots of things to consider coming up. So I'm just going to go straight into my Game Week 9 team as it is at the moment, and then I'll look at some of those decisions I've got, some of the players I'm considering, and I'll also do the usual thing I do at the end with a fixture planner. And I've got my notes at the top of what I'm planning to do each game week, because obviously what I do this week, in 3 or 4 game weeks' time, it's going to be a bit dependent on what I do now. So, okay, well, this is me so far. I've got a picture of Haaland praying that he does well. But it's, apart from Ipswich at home, this has got to be the best game for Haaland, but I'm not quite willing to go as far as a triple captaincy. I'm happy to captain him home to Southampton. So at the moment I've got Flecken in goal, home to Ipswich. Arsenal and Liverpool meet each other, but I'm going to play Alexander and Gabriel because of the off chance of one of them getting a clean sheet, but also the off chance of there being an attacking return for both of them. Both are certainly capable of that. I've got Rico Lewis still starting, but will he be this time round? He's at home to Southampton. I've got Mikalenko at home to Fulham as a backup, though, just in case Lewis doesn't start or come on. Johnson away to Crystal Palace. I've got Saka still. Liverpool at home, but the indications are that he might not be ready. We'll know more later this week in team news. So I'll be looking to move him out, but who I move him to is very important. So Ipswich at home for Brian Mbomo. He's my vice captain, actually. If I wasn't going to captain Haaland this week, Brian Mbomo at home to Ipswich, that's pretty good. Rodgers at home to Bournemouth. These are good fixtures. So, but I thought that last week. So, Chris Wood away to Leicester is another former team there. So I'm hopeful there. Havertz at home to Liverpool. Especially if Saka is out, I'm not so confident there. But anyway, Verbruggen is at home to Wolves. He's on my bench, so I anticipate another 10-pointer from him. Semenyo's my first sub, away to Aston Villa. Maybe I'll move Mikalenko to the first sub. I don't know. Semenyo's still got that attacking threat, though. And Aston Villa can concede. And I've got Greaves completing that bench as well. So I've got some potential issues there with Saka. And looking at the fixtures to come, I think Salah has some really good fixtures to come over the next few weeks. Not necessarily this week, or it could be, but he's at home to Brighton in Game Week 10. I think he's the best captain that week. He's got Aston Villa at home, Game Week 11, also a captaincy contender. Away to Southampton, Game Week 12, captaincy contender as well. Also, Palmer's lurking around there. He does have Newcastle at home. I like that fixture for Palmer. Away at Manchester United, home to Arsenal. Not so keen on there. So I might wait until Game Week 12 for Palmer at home, away to Leicester there, because I'd only really want him for that Newcastle game. I don't really want him for that Manchester United Arsenal games. And if I got Palmer in, it would block me getting, say, for example, Salah in. I know other people are considering Son, for example, and Foden. But yeah, so Palmer would effectively block any of those moves, especially Salah, who's someone I've got my eye on as well. Okay, in order to get to Salah, I've got 1.4 in the bank, which would get me to about 11.5. If I sold Saka, it would get me to about 11.5. If I wanted Salah, I need to find a million or so more. So I need to look at cash cows in my team. Alexander-Arnold is one. I like to keep him. Havertz is another. Maybe I'd like to move him on. And it has made me think about this sort of doubling up on teams in attack or even in defence. I know some people have got Gabriel and Raya, and they're possibly regretting that move now. But Saka and Havertz, maybe a little bit overkill, because the teams that you think are going to do really well perhaps don't sometimes. So, for example, I could go Johnson and Son, but I just don't feel like that doubling up, because you never know. Spurs can go Spursy, Arsenal can go Arsenally. So, I'm not sure about that. So, anyway, here is one decision I've got. So, this would be, in order to get Salah in this week, or next week, if I go for Palmer, maybe I'd want this player again. I'd really like the Wolves fixtures. I really like the Wolves attack as well. So they've got Brighton away, Game Week 9. Not bad, actually. Then Crystal Palace at home. It gets really good from Game Week 10, though. Crystal Palace at home, Southampton at home, Fulham away, and it goes on and on and on right the way through to Boxing Day. So you can get a Wolves attacker in and just keep them there, which I like. I like to do. So these are the two players I'm looking at. It's Cunha and Strand Larsen. So Strand Larsen's a million cheaper. He's around the 5.5. Cunha is 6.5. According to the comparison tool at Fantasy Football Scout, I do urge people to have a look at this. It's in the members area there. Do have a look at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for membership offers. But Matheus Cunha here is on 60. So basically, if there was like a 50-50 split, who's getting better? So 63% to Cunha to 37% to Strand Larsen there. So there's 8 key metrics that Matheus Cunha is better at Strand Larsen at. So Strand Larsen is the attacking guy. He's the guy, although he has been more around the centre circle here. He's the guy that's sort of more up front there. But Cunha's just really involved, and this heat map here is just for the benefit of those listening. So to try and describe a heat map to you, this shows Cunha's assist potential there. He has got double the assist potential of Strand Larsen, and it shows him on corners. It shows him all around the wings. It shows him in the centre. It shows him pretty much all everywhere in the attacking half, which is exactly what you want from him. He's a player I think I may have got him in once or twice last season, but he was certainly a player I coveted getting in. So Cunha would be the one I'd get. Strand Larsen's a million cheaper though, but I don't know if I don't fully know if I need that money yet, and I would prefer Cunha. So at the moment I've got my eye on Havertz to Cunha. Strand Larsen is a good option though. as this graph shows as well. The other option is Palmer against Salah. So this is for a Saka replacement there. So I can go Saka to Palmer, that's it. So what I could do this week, I could just go Saka to Palmer, done. Next week, I could look at Cunha for Havertz, but I would be locked out of getting Salah in. And I do like the idea of Salah for a little run there. Palmer is a long-term pick, but he's also... I think he's got an okay fixture this week. He's got an okay-ish fixture the week after. Not a great fixture the week after that. And then I want him game week 12. So I'm going to just sort of park Palmer, I think. But anyway, so I just did a comparison tool on Salah and Palmer. And they both show that they're pretty much got their half of the pitch. They're the right wing sort of sewn up. Salah especially got him coming in. He's red. The red is hot red for his penalty area touches there. So he's really involved there. And they're pretty much... So Salah's on 47%, Palmer 53%, if you were to look at a split there. So there's pretty much... They're very similar. They both got sort of +6 in sort of various key metrics there. I think they're both brilliant. They're both brilliant options. It would be great to have them both in. But having Haaland as well, that's the issue. So one option next week is to actually get rid of Haaland and just have Salah and Palmer. But I don't really need Palmer next week. So going Salah this week enables me to keep Haaland for a little bit. And then game week 12. See, if Haaland keeps blanking or keeps getting maybe like a goal game, that's not enough for 15 million. You want the hat-tricks, you want the captaincy, the braces for those. And if he's not delivering that and he's taking that captaincy away from one of these guys, then I'm going to really want to remove him. And I know there's going to be there's a lot of talk already amongst content creators, and there's going to just increase. I mean, I've said it on videos this week. I do think the Haalandless teams look better. I think they've won FPL this season. Whether they finish above me or not, I don't know. But I'm slowly coming round to that. But it is a big wrench. I'm not sure I'm willing to do that away to Bournemouth next week. But I'd like to have the chance to. So I might get rid of Haaland next week. I may not. But I'll obviously keep him this week, Southampton. And I'd ideally like to keep him because until, away to Brighton is still pretty good. Game week 12 at home to Tottenham is still pretty good, really. But I'm probably going to want Palmer then and probably Saka. So there's a lot of midfielders I want there. And I think a lot of us FPL managers are going through this at the moment. I've got the captaincy matrix on the screen as well, just to show really sort of who I might captain. So it's got game week 9, Haaland at home to Southampton, great. Backup, I think Brian and Bomo home to Ipswich is brilliant as well. But game week 10 starts a period of, well, this is for my personal view of this, and I think a lot of the other sort of algorithms have said this as well. Salah, best captain for the next 3. Salah away at home to Brighton, at home to Aston Villa. He's actually away to Southampton, so Salah away to Southampton game week 12. Haaland back up away to Bournemouth game week 10. So I think I would not captain Haaland next week. But then that does beg the question, why have you got a 15 million player in your team if you're not going to captain him every week? Well, I just think for that, I'm sort of moving away from Haaland, but I'm not going to go cold turkey. I've got to do it gradually. So have him in my team, but not captain him, then maybe move him out as well. Game week 11, Salah at home to Aston Villa. I like that fixture. Son at home to Ipswich is going to be a very popular fixture as well. So I could get Son in, but I think I prefer Salah. I think I just prefer Salah for this block. Haaland away to Brighton is pretty good. Game week 12, Salah away to Southampton, brilliant. Saka, if back at home to Nottingham Forest, is okay, but it's not that good as a captain because Nottingham Forest are tricky customers in the Premier League. Haaland at home to Tottenham, good, but Palmer away to Leicester. Okay, now I would think about captaining. So for me, Salah and Palmer really. So if I can end up in game week 12 with Salah and Palmer, I'd be happy with that. And then perhaps consider moving Salah to someone else, or maybe Saka, or just keep Salah. But yeah, game week 13, Palmer at home to Aston Villa is pretty good. Brian Bomo home to Leicester. Saka away to West Ham. These are all really good, strong options there, but no Haaland in the mix there because Haaland and Salah, Liverpool and Man City face each other there. So you can see the decisions I'm coming to, and I'm sure everyone watching and listening is probably coming to those as well. The decisions you make now, whether you think, oh, I'm going to get Son in, for example, for Saka. Okay, but do you want Son next week? But do you want him in game week 11 when you want to captain him? Yes. So, maybe I'm talking myself to getting Son, but I've already got Johnson, and I don't really want to double up on that Spurs attack. And I think Johnson's pretty good as well. So let's have a look at the fixtures coming up. And I've got my notes here to sort of sum all that up, really. So as I said, Saka, I think, is going to be going. Game week 9, I could just hold Saka and see if Semenyo gets me anything. It does have a better fixture this week away to Aston Villa. Still not great though. So I could just do Saka to Palmer straight off, done. Or I could do Saka and Havertz to Salah and a Wolves forward, and that sets me up, I think, for the next few game weeks. So that's the one I'm really minded to do. It's the one I've been thinking about for a while now. Game week 10, I'm not planning to make any transfers. So I've got 2 free transfers. And so game week 9, I would use them back to square one again. So game week 10, I would save a transfer, I think, depending on, injuries, etc. So no plans there. The decision for there is Salah, captain, or Haaland. For me, I think Salah. But it will depend on various things like, cup, European involvement, that type of thing. Game week 11, I'll be looking to hold as well. So to rack up a couple more free transfers, that would be good because I want to build up to game week 12, and that's a bit of a fixture swing, really. So from game week 12, you've got Liverpool. Still good, so I'll be keeping Salah as well. But Man City's fixtures turned slightly. Brighton suddenly become really good, so I've got Brighton question mark. I might be looking at, say, Chris Wood to Welbeck or Pedro, for example. I would be considering someone like Matoma. I've already got for Bruggen, so I've already sort of prepared for this. So yeah, Brighton have a very strong fixture run. So they've got Bournemouth away in game week 12, but then in 13, I mean, they're third in the fixture ticker if you just look at a block of game week 13 to 16. So it's Wolves atop, by the way. This is why I'm interested in getting Cunha in. But Brighton at home to Southampton game week 13. Then they've got Fulham away, Leicester away, Crystal Palace at home. Strong fixtures for attack and defence there. Wolves, just to underline how good their fixtures are, they've got Brighton this week, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Fulham, and then they've got Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham and Ipswich. So it's a really strong run of games there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Brighton, if I'm not going to go for Palmer now, I'll be looking to move a midfield onto Palmer, and that's when I could say goodbye to Johnson reluctantly. But if you're thinking who's better, Johnson or Palmer. So another thing for my Havertz to a Wolves forward move is that free up another couple of million, which will add on to the fund of getting Johnson up to Palmer. And I'd probably have to look at another cash cow there, and that could be Alexander-Arnold's time to leave my team. So I'll be looking at him as a cash cow there. Or I could be looking at Haaland, the ultimate cash cow, the cow heifer queen of all, I don't know what I'm. Anyway, he's an absolute, yeah, you know what I mean. There's a lot of cash in that cow with Haaland, so I could just use him and keep Alexander-Arnold, and I can do that in game week 12 because City's fixtures, they got Spurs, then they got Liverpool. Then they got Nottingham Forest at home, and I don't know. I mean, they're very good in defence at the moment. Crystal Palace away, that's okay. Manchester United at home, so they're okay fixtures. I actually think Manchester United at home for Haaland because of his family's Leeds connections could be the best ones. I remember captaining Haaland before against Manchester United, and he did it ever so well. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here. It's a very complex moment in FPL, where a lot of managers like me who play very safe are having to readjust how they play the game, because we haven't had this situation where you've had so many good expensive players at the same time, and we especially never had it where one is like 15.4 million as well. and that completely changes how we have to play the game and how we approach the game. And increasingly, I look at other people's teams with Saka. Okay, I mean, say Saka's injured at the moment or potentially injured, but they've got three premium midfielders. They've got, say, Saka, Son, and Palmer, or Salah, Son, and Foden, or something like that. So they've really stocked up there, and they haven't got Haaland to be able to achieve that. And they've still got good players like Alexander-Arnold, or they've still got Brian Mbomo, for example. So I think those teams are starting to look really good. They could all change. Haaland scores a hat-trick this weekend, and that's what I'm building into my plans, really. I don't want to totally say I'm going to be getting rid of Haaland in Game Week 10. It'll be very... if he blanks against Southampton, that's what's that, the fourth blank in a row against easier teams. It could be time to move him on. But I'd like to give myself the option to keep him. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for managers this season, because you've got to play in a slightly different way. It's quite hard to get to adjust to that. But we're all learning. We're all around. Some of us are doing very well in the rankings. Some are doing terribly. Some, like me, are sort of doing middling. So I think I'm about 12, 15 points off, sort of, say, 600k. Which is much more respectable. So I'm not out of it yet. Can I win it? Not sure. Anyway, I hope that's been a help. Sorry, it's been a bit of a rambling one, but it's a rambling week, I think, where you're going around the houses. Son, Palmer, which ones you're going to get. Salah, Haaland, you're going to keep Haaland. Is Saka going to be fit again? And then you've got all these wonderful cheap players as well. The Wolves attackers, Jimenez, the Brighton players as well. You're going to want in Game Week 12, so you've got to be thinking about all of these things as well. Lots to consider. I hope that sort of helped you perhaps make some of your decisions this week. Good luck with your Game Week, whatever you decide. Do leave comments in the comment section below about what you're doing and about your, what are these sort of dilemmas that are keeping you awake at night in FPL. But good luck with the Game Week. See you soon. Bye now.